right, so there's been some confusion about how far away hunting from the property line. When I do a short video here just to provide some documentation, you know, about the reality of the situation, I guess. So my neighbors put this T-post in probably a year ago at this point. It's right at our property line. There's another T-post down in there. So it goes to here, and then there's some more back up there, and that's our property line with the neighbor that raised the issue a couple nights ago about how close we're hunting to the property line. So I'm gonna walk from this point down to this old dilapidated dilapidated deer blind. A friend named Herbie, who owns another property up here in Handle Up Draw, he dropped this off, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 months ago. I don't really remember when. It might have been a couple. It's been a while. I haven't touched it since it was dropped off because the whole thing needs to be reworked. Let me go ahead and walk over to it. We used a range finder. It's about 200 feet from the property line. Oh man, a little chilly today. Right up here, you can see my 3/4 ton truck over there. It's a pretty big truck. You can see it kind of for scale, how far away we are at this point. All right. All right. So here's the dilapidated feeder my friend dropped off. He didn't really know where to put it. I think he just kind of chose this spot because he knew I was going to put that feed pin way down there, and we'll get to that in a second. But as you can see, I mean, this thing is pretty beat up. He told me it fell off a truck. So, I mean, it's kind of rotting. I mean, I wouldn't stand in there. The wood's kind of rotten. And you can see it's got like broken plexiglass and some trash and other stuff in it. It's not, I mean, it's not ready to hunt. And I don't even know if you can really see our feed pin front here. Yeah, it's a little bit further down, but I mean, you'll see in a sec. I mean, there's even a big corner post over there. I don't think you could shoot very much behind it. So, you know, there's the dilapidated deer blind that we're not using. And I indicated that to the neighbor before the season even started. Let me see if I can find it. There's a chair right there. That's kind of where we've been hunting from. It's still pretty far away from the property line. I mean, it's probably a good, 150 yards from the property line right there. Okay. And there's actually, I can't tell if you can, yeah, you can. It's right through there. Hold on. Behind that chair, there is you can see right there, that thing that's kind of poking up. There's the chair. And that's a tent blind that's trapped under a log. And that's what we have been using. So I'll walk over there in a sec. First, let me show you kind of the distance to the, so we got the T-post. It's pretty far back there, right? And then we got the feed pin that we're setting up over here, right? And again, my truck's right there parked for scale. And then the blind that we're not using that we're gonna move is right here. So if I'll walk over here to the feed pin so you can kind of see how much closer it actually is to our neighbor on the other side. Our property's, it's roughly the same width. I mean, it's a little bit, I guess, a little bit wider than tall, so it's a little bit further across from east to west than north-south, but I mean, this feed pin's, it's more than halfway across our property. From that dilapidated blind, I'd say it's probably a good 150 yards. So probably, anywhere from 200 and 250 yards from the property line. But if we, you know, just kind of walk all the way down here, you know, this feed pen is actually, I think, further from the property line than the neighbor's is. And the neighbor is shooting in a direction that actually shoots into our property. I can't say whether a bullet's ever crossed the line or not, but we're shooting into the interior of our property because we feel like that's safe. But, you know, the argument about, you know, whether or not it's a safety thing, I think is a bit ridiculous, given that we're not the ones shooting towards someone else's property. But I mean, you can see here, like with this feed pen, get under the construction. I mean, you can see that blind back there. Like I said, it's a pretty good distance, but I mean, there's a lot of brush here, right? This is not, this feed pen, right? It's in here. I mean, if you get down here into the feeder, I mean, you could see some deer from that blind, right? If you are out towards the edge of it. But again, the feeders are back in here, and there's brush all through here. We're shooting from over there, and we actually, where that chair is, not over there where that is, but where our chair is over there. And we're probably going to be moving it over here so that we can shoot directly in to this pin, you know, through the barbed wire that's going to be right here, and not have to compete with the fence corners or the gate posts. But I took my first deer for the season from right there, with a tent blind that was set up around that chair. And again, we're going to be shooting from over there. I've only taken one shot this season from over there, and I haven't taken nothing from over there because it's not even really set up to shoot there. I think my friend thought I was going to put the feeder over here and shoot across the draw, but that's not where I put it. I put the feeders over here, so it's fundamentally in the wrong spot. So, you know, outside the pen, you know, if I don't even think I can zoom in far enough to see the T-post at this point. You know, it's pretty far. Yeah, my camera doesn't zoom far enough to really see it. Let me see if maybe there's a better angle I can get on it. Oh, there it is right there. So I don't know if you can, there's a little white dot right there. So that's that T-post way off in the distance, okay? Now if I turn around and take a couple steps out of here, my other neighbor put a sign up on a much smaller T-post right there. So you can see, I mean, that's quite a bit closer. You know, if I drive up there, I mean, that's maybe 30, that road right there is maybe 30 yards from the property line with that neighbor up there who, you know, I ran the location of this pin past both of these neighbors. You can see that one, you can barely see that little white dot next in between those plants right there. That's the top of that T-post. Whereas here, I mean, it's pretty, you can tell it's a lot closer. So, you know, this feed pen is more than half the north to south distance of my property from their property line over there. I'm not hunting near the property line. And again, just, this is ridiculous, but here I'll walk across and prove that, yeah, I mean, there's a chair over here. There's a tent blind. I mean, we're not even hunting this season, but that's I guess a different conversation altogether. But I'm pretty sure, because we were down here working on it and we saw lights, you know, they were all the way back up in that hill up there shining their lights. And again, you know, I haven't raised any issues with the whole shooting towards my property. You know, it's not it's not, they're not shooting in a way that's towards my feeder or where I'd be shooting. So I'm not one to really make issue out of it, but you know, they put their stuff right a lot closer to our property line than I did. So, you know, I mean, I guess they think since they put it close to the property line first, I can't put anything near my own. I can't put anything on my own property anywhere in this area. Because again, you know, this is I'd have to cordon off a third of my property for, I think, for them to not have an issue. Because I think they think that that whole third is their backdrop, but I don't know. I didn't go into this trying to make issues with these people. It's just kind of, I guess it is what it is. But here and here, you can see my trucks right there. That blind's over there, the dilapidated one, and then the feed pen's down there. Now here's the chair. And that the chair's here. The tent blind was set up in this little area right here. I actually had it tied to this log because the stakes won't go into the ground, and I had the other end tied to, I think, the log that's sitting on top of it right now. And you can see I need to pick up the, I got a water bottle I forgot to pick up that's right there. But you know, that tent blind blew around really good, and this is actually where I fell out on the cactus. I was trying to squat and get through the door right here, and I don't know if you've seen any of y'all have seen my Facebook post, but you know, I got out, I had jeans on, squatted down. I was tired from working all day, and I collapsed into the cactus, and I had to use Elmer's glue to get it out. It wasn't very much fun. But yeah, here's tent blind. It's covered by that white log is the one that I had it tied to on the other side to hold it down. But, you know, it blew good enough, and I just haven't had a chance. We're going to come get it before we leave, but I haven't had a chance to pick it up yet. And then, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. If anyone should be upset, it would be this guy back here, Derek, but he drives through there. He was more worried I was going to be upset about him driving through there. His blind's way over there, actually closer than theirs, the neighbor who complained, which I think is much closer to this location. Or is much further away from this location, I should say. Derek's is much closer, and you know, again, he's worried that his driving would pose a problem. But we talked about it, and you know, he was fine with it. Just like the neighbor who seems to be irritated now. You know, I told them where I was going to put it. I mean, there's a whole message thread on Facebook Messenger about it. You know, I posted it. I posted the picture to them, I should say, of the initial location, and then I actually moved it further away from their property line, not closer. So I originally had it where my truck is. That's where I'd marked it. And I said, well, you know, I think maybe closer up there is easier. You know, I'd already detected a little bit of tension with this neighbor, and I didn't really want to push it. So that Derek had already kind of agreed to allow us for mutual recovery, or he was open to it, I should say, and I didn't know if the other neighbor would be open to it, so decided to put it further down just in case the deer, you know, does somehow run 300 yards before it drops. You know, it's a little bit more distance there. But anyway, that's the whole video. You know, it's pretty far away from their property line. I'm not shooting from anywhere near their property line. You know, I can't even see their feeder or blind. I went up to the property line and walked up and down it and couldn't see it. I'm assuming what they saw was some lights, and they did drive over here. They were shining lights at us. She even said that that's what she was doing on Messenger. So that's where they took that picture of those lights. You know, they didn't take the picture from their blind. They drove over here. I saw they either drove or walked. I couldn't really tell. I think they drove their UTV because I saw lights up in that hill when we were working down here the other night. And I saw it flashing around, and I was like, what the heck are they doing? And maybe they tracked a deer. And I sent her a message asking if they got a deer. Got a curt response, and then, you know, lo and behold, the next day, the agitated message about, you're too close. So that's the whole thing. Sorry for all of you or if anyone does watch this that I send it to, I apologize in advance. I know I'm a bit long-winded, so hopefully you guys have a good rest of your season without any drama. Take care.